basically there was about 2 or 3 innings that separated who was going to win that series. They killed us, we killed them, and 2 very tightly contested games. So we feel very good getting on that plane 3-1.
How'd you feel about Cole's performance?
Oh, spectacular. He was on a pitch count. And for him to get 4 innings and 43 pitches, he's right on schedule. He's passed every test. Probably my patience will be tested a little bit because the medical people, the experts, don't want him to progress as fast as maybe a baseball coach would, and so we're going to have to make sure he's continuing to pass all those tests and not push him too hard. And hopefully at the end of the year that'll pay dividends for him and me and us, and set him up well for the professional draft and his professional future.
Connor Harvard came in, basically kind of had like a starter's outing after Irvin. Is he going to get a shot this weekend?
Oh yeah, and that's kind of we've announced Cole again as the Thursday guy, and he'll be on a pitch count, and more than likely Connor will follow him as a starter, kind of, because who knows if Cole's going to get 4 innings this week.
So he's going to come in relief?
Depending on the score, yes,
okay.
And what we see and so forth and so on. But that's how it's planned out. That's how it was planned out on Friday in Hawaii. And Connor is one of our best starting kind of guys. The only reason he's not starting on Friday is because Cole's on a pitch count, so to speak.
Yeah.
Nick Catalano answer any questions for you this weekend?
Yeah, good for him. Certainly a game-winning home run. That's not in a lot of Duck history, whether it's in Hawaii or here. And the fact that going into it, we were concerned that he was not on it offensively, so to speak. And some of the things besides swinging the bat, like executing bunts and so forth, he had some work to do there. And besides the game-winning home run, he executed very well and made 3 or 4 outstanding plays in center field. So he impressed us quite a bit, offensively and defensively.
Do you feel much better about center field now, or do you need to see more sustained success before you really feel like he's answered that?
Well, I think even going into it, we felt good. It was a case of him and Graybeck going toe-to-toe, and Heineman was in the mix, possibly, as I said to you guys. Yeah. Probably a little less optimistic, I guess is the way it came out last week in our discussions with you, but they're tremendous baseball players, and a lot of things change when the bell rings, for the good and the bad, and Negosic is a bell ringer kind of guy. He wasn't necessarily spectacular in his workouts, but last year when he was asked to do something special, i.e. the Vanderbilt performance, and then his performance over the weekend was special, and I would say the same thing about Catalano. And when Graybeck got his shot, he played very well on his own right. So having that kind of depth and flexibility is a good thing for us to have plenty of guys to go to.
Has that been Nick's track record too, where maybe you're not in love with him in workouts, but then in games he shows up?
No, we're in love with him in workouts.
Okay.
If you took the Duck player and you said, how would you want every guy on the team to be like Nick Catalano's pictures there, and 4.0 student in tough junior classes, upper division classes. No question that he never gets outworked on the practice field, even when nobody's watching. He's impressed us very much like that. It's just the results part of it wasn't great. And so Nick Catalano deserves everything he gets, because he works very, very hard in the classroom, off the field. He's a great kid. On the field, he deserves everything he gets.
So what do you look for this week? What do you look for more?
Well, I don't know a whole lot about New Mexico State. You kind of take one series at a time, and you'd think, wow, 6 hours on a plane and layovers and all that, but I was sleeping, so it was one of those red-eye things. And I know it's a new coach. Coach Green goes back to my Southern California days. He was an assistant at UCLA, does a great job. Gary Henderson at Kentucky's a friend of mine, and so I know they'll be well coached. One of their players is a son of a guy that played for me in 1985, 30 years ago, I guess that is, and I coached his uncle, Shane Mack and Quinn Mack, and typically New Mexico State's a very offensive team because of where they play. It's a very offensive ballpark, and I do know that they'll be taught more of the little ball and the details of the game, and because their coach will execute more than just sit back and swing the bats. And from our standpoint, which is our main objective, I was really impressed with the character of our team. Even when we were getting our lunch handed to us a little bit, when they were killing us, that's when the real character of this team impressed me, that they played hard, they played 9 innings, they didn't start pointing fingers, and a lot of times when you're getting killed, that's when you really find out the true character of people, because it's really easy for coaches and players to blame each other, and we didn't do that. So, playing time always tends to get in the way of chemistry as the season goes along, and hopefully if that cancer doesn't hit us, I think we got a chance to really have a special they like each other. They really like competing with one another, and I know from a coaching standpoint we like being around them. So, you'd like to come home hitting 350 and not have walked anybody and play perfect baseball, but that's not the way baseball is. And I think our reaction to negative things over the weekend, I was very impressed with those, our ability to bounce back, get to the next pitch, as we like to say. So we'll see, but I think the early returns were pretty good besides coming back 3-1.
Chase and Irvin both kind of made that same point. Was anybody leading the way in that regard on Sunday?
Oh, I think the upperclassmen always serve as the example, but we play a lot of young guys, and so I think that just comes from the culture of the program and let's say hopefully it starts from the top and matriculates down, and no matter what you do as a leader, a parent, CEO of a company, you still need your lieutenants, you need your support, and for the good of the cause, I think that everybody has to buy into that. That's not you're selling stuff, and if it isn't authentic, the players look right through that. So I think they authentically like each other, and I think they authentically like dealing with adversity, and that's always a good sign, because baseball tends to be a negative sport sometimes. You have to deal with things that don't go your way.
What was your report card on the transfer?